We are live.
And I'm waiting a few seconds because I haven't forgotten. Oh,
right. You don't want to say anything right away because we lose the content.
I waited.
Oh, but Anise. So you're doing the wait, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't need
to
do it.
Are we live yet?
Yeah, we're live. We've been live. We've been live for 22 seconds now.
Are we? Are we done yet?
No.
Oh, okay. Let's get into this thing then. This is Literary Roadhouse. One short story once a week. My name's Gerald.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Anise. Okay.
And I'm talking.
I know.
I'm
my story
to discuss Hamilton.
I'm just trying to get it.
We're going to be talking about Hamilton today.
This
now available on Disney Plus. Not sponsored.
I don't have Disney Plus. I don't know if we have Disney Plus here, so get over it. Anyway, this week we have been reading Agashi by A.C. Koch, and it's from Carve magazine. But I tried to choose something that wasn't too carvish. So if you haven't read the story, pause the podcast, go and read it. It's about 6,000 words, and come back and rejoin the podcast. We follow two English teachers as they are sent on a mission to fetch their boss's niece, quotation marks, back from Korea to Hong Kong. The first-person narrator is Irish and cynical. Krasner is American and is perhaps overpainted as crass, chain-smoking, coke-guzzling, Pringles-smacking, Newsweek adult antichrist. I don't know if is that what Americans are like? I don't know.
That's pretty accurate.
Okay. Against the odds, they find the girl, but Krasner decides to take off with her without going back to Hong Kong. There's a dream sequence in the middle. And that's about it.
There's a dream sequence?
Yeah, where Chow Yun-Fat breaks in.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. I wasn't sure if he had fallen asleep or if that was just him sort of just him thinking, just kind of like an overactive imagination, you know?
Well, I mean, is it mechanically different from a dream sequence?
Not really.
Events?
Yeah, I saw it more as like a daydream because he was looking out the window, but it's possible he fell asleep because he was in a comfy chair.
But a daydream is still a dream.
Yeah. I guess I don't believe that this action star came in and.
I thought I was argumentative today, but
No, I'm argumentative. I've been like this for a couple weeks now, and it's got to be overconsumption of news. I got to stop and meditate. It's like all I do. All right.
Put that news aside. You don't need any of that.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought when you said it's a dream sequence, I missed the line where it's definitely a dream, and then I woke up.
Well, no.
Okay, but yeah, I agree. Dream there was no actual action star shootout shit. All right. Okay. So
he wasn't floating above the water.
No. So, Andy, what did you think of the story overall?
Man, I was really into it, and then I don't know what it wants me to think about everything. I was like, we're gonna make fun of this stupid American guy. That's pretty cool. I like our narrator because he's all cynical and judgy.
Yeah,
and a little smarmy. He's funny. And I pulled out a couple little bits from near the beginning where it's so when he's describing the key differences between them, right? Ken Krasner, the American, goes and he gets little he cuts out pictures and he prints them, he laminates them, and he puts them on individual index card just so that he can go to class and have little individual typed cards that say pen, key, and office, or pen, key, and phone. And when our narrator gets to that lesson, he grabs a key, a phone, and a pen from his office, goes to class. And the part I liked was total prep time, 1 minute. It might mean that Ken Krasner is a highly dedicated teacher, totally committed to the best possible lesson he can give, or it might just mean that he's an idiot. And does that mean I'm a lazy slob or a brilliant improvisationist? I ponder these questions all the time.
That's the whole theme. So I think you do know what the story is about, right? Because as the story unfolds,
it's about the question, right?
It's about the question, and I think the question for the most part is answered towards the end. In fact, the parallel here between Krasner and narrator is kind of like Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. I'm sorry. It just is. But anyway, it's sort of this that tension between Crasher's kind of annoying and he's like overachiever, always doing something, way of being, always led by values and trying to do everything right. And the Irish guy,
everything's a crusade with him.
Everything's a crusade, just like Hamilton. And then, meanwhile, the narrator, who we could call Aaron, right? We don't get a name, but it could be Aaron. So Aaron,
that's very Irish.
Is it? Not really. Liam would be Irish.
I'm joking again. Aaron Burr Hamilton. Anyway, so
okay,
Aaron,
right.
It's for readers who are like, why are they going on about Hamilton? It's because Andy and I, mostly myself, but Andy started it, tortured Gerald with like, are we just going to discuss Hamilton the entire show? And Gerald was like, no. But the narrator, who's Irish, not that that matters, but he is. He's more looking out for himself, opportunistic, trying to see what's the opportunity to advance himself. He's not led necessarily by values. He's led by his self-interest. And at the beginning of the story, you're like, well, that's all right, because Ken Krasner is annoying. By the end of the story, you're like, oh, maybe the narrator kind of sucks. And Ken Krasner, even if he's annoying, at least has values and is doing the right thing, right? Like, I think that's the flip in the story, and that's the whole theme. So you did it, Andy, even though you started by saying you don't know what the story's about.
Okay. Ken Krasner's big heroic moment is he kidnaps a prostitute.
Does he? He doesn't kidnap a prostitute. Is kidnap the right word?
He bought her and then ran away with her. She remains indentured to him.
I don't think so.
Oh.
You think he's going to keep her as like his slave forever? He's not just going to free her the first moment he can when he gets her out of harm's way?
Well, I don't know. No. We don't see him do that, do we?
But it's been set up that that's the direction he's moving. Like that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want her to bring her back to be a slave to Mr. Lim and the Chinese mob.
No, not to Mr. Lim.
So you think Ken Krasner went through all of this so that he could have an indentured prostitute person?
Well, the narrator thinks he's kind of in love with her.
He doesn't. That's the excuse he's making to Mr. Lim.
I don't know. Well, that's the thing. I don't know. And it's like...
Well, that's a good story then, isn't it?
Wait. You both... hold on. Do you guys truly think that Ken Krasner... No. Do you truly think that the narrator believes that Ken Krasner fell in love with Sung-hee or Sung-hee?
No, but the narrator doesn't think Ken Krasner fell in love with her. I think the narrator does believe that Ken Krasner, I'm doing finger quotes now, fell in love with her in the way that Ken Krasner fell in love with the idea of going to Russia to become a priest.
Sure. Yes, he wants to save her.
Yeah, but...
Not because he's in love with her in a romantic sense, but because he doesn't want to deliver her into the hands of the Chinese mob.
Right.
And at one point, you see, the narrator says, after they're just sort of sitting in Korea, and he said, and he's drawn the parallel with the sort of action movie hero sort of thing, and he says, an uneasy feeling creeps up on me. Is Krasner actually the hero here? He beats the odds and gets the girl. So the narrator thinks that he's got the girl and will keep the girl. He's paid to remove her from her situation. I don't know what she thinks, because she doesn't seem to say very much about things. But she seems easy with the situation. She seems reasonably happy, but it's not clear whether she speaks English or not. So maybe she doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah, but what does get the girl mean in an action movie?
Oh, it's a sort of permanent, or as far as we know, permanent relationship based thing.
Right, but it's a relationship based thing with a sex slave he bought in Korea. There's trubs. It's problematic.
I don't know. I didn't read it as he got the girl and now she will necessarily be his forever. If it goes that way, I feel like it's a weird thing where, like, if she sticks around, it might be because she thinks it's her best bet. Like, maybe she's being a bit like the narrator, maybe out of self-interest. She's like, oh, this guy who like buys me things and doesn't abuse me, and save me from a horrible situation. I'll just cling to that forever because that's working out for me. Right. That still has some problems in it, but I don't think that's Ken Krasner's motivation. I don't think his motivation in saving her is like, she will now be dependent on me forever. I think it's primarily exactly what it looks like. I will not deliver her into the hands of the Chinese mob. And I'm pretty sure if she was like, okay, I want to go with my family somewhere, he'd let her, right? He's not going to force her against her will to do anything.
I think certainly agreed. Chinese mob is a bad place for her to be.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a mob? He's the Mr. Lim is the boss of the sort of college where they teach. So I don't think it's
it's pretty shady.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Hong Kong. Hong Kong's good. Hong Kong's British-ish, maybe. Used to be.
Yeah, but it's not like there aren't criminal organizations and fronts in Britain either, right? Like you can be developed and wealthy,
Wait, are there?
No, it's all. I mean,
they're just tea shops, right? It's like tea shops and umbrellas. I think
tea shops and umbrellas.
Isn't that like the entire country?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got one out here. We've got tea shop. Tea shop. Nobody goes in them because everyone's got a tea shop, so there's no customers. No, I think because. See, one parallel is there are these websites apparently you can go onto, and you can find the girl of your dreams who may be Russian or Filipino or Chinese or something. Is that the same thing? That where people are, are those people buying a woman for a relationship?
Yeah.
I think what matters there is. And again, it's still problematic, but there's like degrees of problematicness, right? So when it's like, did the woman sign up for this willingly for problematic reasons having to do with her options, economic situation, and other reasons, right? But did she willingly sign up for this as a way to advance herself, or has she been signed up against her will, which was what was happening to Soon-hee in the story prior to Krasner. And I think what's happening with Krasner, it's if she sticks with him, it is of her choice. He's not going to keep her there against her will. If she's like, cool, I want to now like go live with like my grandma somewhere, he'd be like, okay, right? And I think that difference matters.
Yeah,
you would have wanted to see that. And like, I don't want to be the guy who needs everything spelled out in the story, but like,
yeah, I think I'm with Andy here that it's not clear that that's the case. And certainly Krasner's not making it clear and doesn't hint at or imply or give clues to that. At no point does he say, I have to stop her. It's not right that she goes back to Hong Kong or anything like this. It's not, he doesn't give any clue as to he's doing it for her and releasing her because that's a sort of strange thing to do. It is kind of strange because he didn't know her before he met her, so it's not like he's gone on a crusade to release this woman. Yeah, maybe once he gets there, he thinks, I'm not going to take him back to Lim and find something else for her to do. I don't know.
Yeah. And like she doesn't have any agency really. Like
no,
she in the narrative in the story, right, as written, she's treated as like the object of their quest. Like she's not one of the characters. We've got like 3 characters and none of them are her.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think you guys are very nobly, right, looking for you're looking at the moral arc of this as it relates to Soon-hee, which makes a lot of sense. And I think it's, like noble to make sure like, wait, but is this problematic or not? Because it's like the stories, the curtains close and you're like, no, you close these curtains way too soon, sir. I would like to know what happens to Soon-hee. However, this story isn't about Soon-hee, as you just noted. It's about the difference between Krasner and the narrator, and the curtain closing on that point has been made, right?
I don't know, write a different story then.
Sure, you can ask for a different story, but that's not this story. This story is about the difference between Krasner and the narrator.
Well, this is my advice for writers. Write a different story.
I wonder.
But, okay, the object of the quest could have been anything. then.
Yes, exactly. I think that's what's tripping this up.
It could have been something that doesn't invite this discussion we're having. So, like, poor choice of quest object, bad MacGuffin.
Possibly, because typically, and I think you're right in that regard, which is, well, typically when you set up a quest, like, hey, go find this quote unquote niece in South Korea who's definitely a prostitute. That becomes the driving plot. That becomes the thing that you expect to see resolved to its end, right? So I think that's where that is coming from. Like, you end the story way too soon if that's the quest, but it's not. Like you just said, that quest doesn't matter. But it's a very compelling one because saving damsels is always a very compelling story to separate men who kind of are self-interested from men who, I mean, sometimes saving damsels is self-interest. But again, Ken Krasner's putting himself in harm's way. The Chinese mom could come after him. He has used their money. He is being brave in trying to save this woman and not delivering her to Chinese hands. So it's a very quick way to sort of separate the Hamiltons from the Burrs, right? So, yeah. But I think you're right. Once you set up that quest, you're like, no. You ended this way too soon. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, again, trying to look for clues, and when the narrator first meets them, Krasner sits like a stone. He's looking at the girl, and she's looking at him. They stare at each other, and despite the oceans that separate their lives and their illusions, they're locked together. A leading man and his leading lady. So the narrator clearly thinks that some relationship has been built between them. It's not. There's no sense that the narrator's picking up that she's an unwilling participant in whatever is happening here.
Right. And Krasner does speak a little bit, which is when the narrator says, you're talking dangerous now, Krasner. Let's get on the plane, take the girl to Lim, and you can fight your crusade on home turf. Yeah? And then Krasner says, nope, you can go back whenever you want. I'm not going back. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm not in the business of buying girls for Chinese mob bosses. Well, you just bought one, not for Lim, and this is where it ends. And then that's when the narrator looks at the girl and says, what do you think about all of this? But she doesn't speak English. And then he, in a very condescending and manipulative way, is like, you want to go to the disco? You want to go to the disco in Hong Kong? You like the disco? Right?
Yeah.
Like, who sucks in that exchange? The narrator again.
Right.
Burr, right? He's the one who's kind of trying to manipulate her into going to Hong Kong to be delivered into the hands of the Chinese mob.
So have I got this right? So the American writer pitches the American as the hero and the Irishman as the lunk, the bad guy, the baddie.
True to American literary tradition.
Yeah. Beautiful. Excellent. That's as long as we know, that's all right.
Yep.
I don't have any Irish blood in me, as far as I know, so that's all right.
You're pure.
Yeah, well, no. Pure whatever. Pure thing. Mongrel, that's me. Well, we all are, aren't we?
All right. Yeah.
So, there we are.
Okay. I think we've dissected the theme and the plot well enough. I think your points, which is, if you're going to give me a Save the Girl quest, I want to know she is saved, is valid, even if that's not what the story's about. What about the prose?
Liked it. Yeah. Beautiful. I started off by reading half a page and thinking how, it's quite, the initial part is quite dense and there's quite a lot of exposition. And I sort of thought, how many pages? All right, okay. And then the rest just flew by. So it was, I really liked it. Very, very easy style. True to Carve magazine. Easy reading.
Mm.
Yeah. I had a real hard time getting started on this one because I kept looking at that first sentence, like Ken Krasner in a nutshell, : he peers at me bug-eyed over the pages of his Newsweek and announces, I have to go be a priest in Russia. And I'm like, oh, this story's going to be awful and tedious. Like, it's just... But, no, I was very incorrect, right? And then I get, like, a couple more sentences in, and there's like funny observations about this stupid American guy. His dumb ideals.
Yeah.
His dumb heroics and values.
That's quite interesting.
Right.
And I do wonder if that's where the sort of carvishness comes in, that the opening is sort of deliberately weird, and I have to go be a priest in Russia, and it's just I always it's a bit like the trailer to Breaking Bad that I saw that's got him driving through the desert in this RV, and there's dead bodies and breaking glass, and then he stands there in his underwear with a gun, and I just think, what on earth is this? I have to watch it, and you just wonder if it's a little bit like that. The opening is a bit sort of, let's do something weird, and that'll intrigue people and get them reading.
See, but it almost lost me. It was the opposite.
Yeah, too weird, maybe.
Yeah, I really liked the prose. I felt it had a fairly distinct voice. You know how we sometimes talk about MFA voice? I don't think this ran into that problem.
No.
I kind of like the opening. I agree it was weird, but it was a sit up and pay attention weird that made me like, okay, here we go. So it worked for me. I liked it. I thought it was really good. I liked the pacing. Like the beginning was dense, but it was exactly what we needed to know to set up the story. You know what I mean? It didn't feel excessive. I thought it was very good. Also, he uses colons a lot, so like that's fun.
and really, it's an exercise in show not tell, isn't it? That opening, me skimming an in-flight magazine, it's just we are on a plane. No, so you got some nice clues and suspended over the South China Sea. So that there's all these little show not tell clues, which I thought was quite nicely done. But the meat of it is a lot more straightforward and a lot more sort of straightforward exposition.
Yeah. And for the people who are aspiring writers who listen to this, we mentioned the colon a few times. I'd go and pay attention to when he uses it. It's a very interesting tempo thing that I liked, which kind of almost gave it at times. I don't know why this is the word that pops into mind, and I don't have enough time to examine it, but it made the tempo in certain places and the story feel more masculine. Not sure why. Maybe it's that like full stop quality of like, duh, I have spoken, colon. I don't know. There's just something kind of like manly about it. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like
commas feels like women's words.
Right. Well, like imagine if you put a comma just like right in the middle of a phrase. Right? Like, my dearest, comma.
Right.
Angelica.
It
does change the meaning. Yeah.
It is quite strange actually. It hadn't occurred to me, or I hadn't noticed the colons, but just searching through the text now for colon, I just thought, wow, there is a lot of colons in this. But
some people pronounce that colon.
I was going to say colon sounds like a artificial intelligent race, right? Like robots coming from the stars, which I love.
Colon.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to pronounce it?
Colons.
Colon. COLUN. Colon.
Colons. The colons.
Aluminum.
Okay.
I like the fact that because I always copy and paste all the stories into a sort of word processor thing, and I like that my word processor didn't like the aluminum. I thought, well done, word processor.
Take a stand.
You're poo-pooing about Hamilton. In one of the songs that King George sings, he makes fun of the American accent. It goes, awesome. Wow. You would love it. You would live for that moment.
Really?
Yeah.
I must watch it for that alone then.
Yes.
Now
available on Disney Plus. Not sponsored.
Yeah, Disney Plus, not sponsored, but we could be Disney.
Yeah. If you're listening, Disney, by the way.
We'll continue to plug Hamilton into every single discussion.
191 episodes, so we're not here today, gone tomorrow. Just saying.
Yep. Is this 191 or 190?
191, this is.
Really? I have it as 190. Maybe I messed up.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe
I've been tracking them since the beginning, and
really?
This is like episode 20, so.
Lost Performance was 190.
Okay.
Afterlife 189, etc. Anyway, that's neither
That's
here nor
list.
there.
Keep going.
Yes, I'll read them all out to you if you want.
Okay.
No.
So I have Afterlife 188. All right, I gotta figure out what my numbering's off. Anyway, that's an off-air conversation. An on-air conversation is: do we have
No, they
anything
like
else
it.
to add?
The
Yes.
people like this sort of thing.
Yeah, they're
I
like,
think this is what they tune in for.
it's the blooper reel. It's kind of like the behind the scenes on a DVD back when that was a thing, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're right. Actually, I think I've gone from 188 the Afterlife to 189 the Afterlife for some strange reason.
See.
So it was me, stupid Englishman.
Anyway, do you guys have anything else to add about Agashi by A.C. Koch?
No, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yep, I liked it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you ready for ratings then?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want to go first, Gerald?
Yeah, I will go. I will go 5.5. It's not quite a 6, but it's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Andy?
I'm going to give it a 4.
What?
Yeah, no, because it was good writing and bad choice of MacGuffin. So, do better.
Wow.
Write a different story, but the same way.
I'm coming in at a nice solid 5. I thought it was very good, explored its theme well. I'm not as concerned about the future of Soon-hee because either way, she has some agency, I'm pretty sure, even if it's a little problematic. So
That's just because you're an idealistic American.
true. I'm a Hamilton. That's why I always get. Here we go. Mashups. Hamilton would be a Gryffindor, as am I. Right?
What?
No, there is no truer statement. Okay. No truer statement. You cannot refute it. Well, you think he'd be Ravenclaw? You're wrong. All right, moving on. Pop cultural matchups.
I know. I read one Harry Potter book because I had to at the time.
Right, you have to
for a reason. And so all the whole subculture stuff has gone way over my head.
Isn't reading a Harry Potter book sort of like one of the things that you need to do as a citizen over there in the UK? Like, isn't that like a thing you need to do?
You're British.
Vote.
Did you know that?
Yeah, but she's apparently transphobic now.
I know she's canceled. Yeah. But she'll be fine. She could drop another book tomorrow and rake in millions. She'll be okay. Don't worry about her.
Yeah. Okay. I was a bit worried about her, but
she's just Twitter canceled. Doesn't have a lot of economic power.
Okay. Fair enough. So that's Harry Potter. So all this sort of which house are you? I just whatever.
Aaron
Burr would probably be a Slytherin, though.
Who?
Aaron Burr.
Oh, yeah. He'd be Slytherin for sure. Gerald right now sounds like a Hufflepuff.
What's wrong with Hufflepuff?
Nothing, Andy. Just saying. He sounds like one.
Yeah? Because he's loyal and true?
Loyal and true, yeah. That's what everyone knows about the Hufflepuffs.
Yeah.
Is that right?
You should know.
Is that what it is? Because I'm going to look this up afterwards on their internet thing. I'll find out.
All right.
Saying about me. Right. Sorry.
It's okay. It's just I have a feeling our audience will tolerate a lot of this. But
you think?
Yeah.
You think? But not too much, eh?
Well, it's at the end. We finish our discussion. So if you hate Harry Potter, this is your chance to go.
Well, technically, their chance to go was like 5 minutes ago.
Yes. I should have gone 10 minutes ago, I think.
Okay. Andy, what are we reading next week?
Oh, we are reading a story that I picked specifically for us to read on this show. Mm-hmm. And that story has both a title and an author.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know
unlike all stories.
A great start.
We are reading Confessions of a Shinagawa Monkey by Haruki Murakami.
Okay. But before you go, travel to our Facebook group, the Literary Roadhouse Readers, and find other fans of the show to discuss short stories with. We need to appraise whether or not Koch accurately described Busan for, literary criticism purposes. Due to the pandemic, we'll be traveling by private sailboat for social distancing reasons. Support our fake trip, and real podcast expenses by supporting us on patreon.com/Literary Roadhouse. Every bit helps. And as always, share this with the women who wear silver makeup in your life. Until next time, read a good story.
Yay. I don't have many women who wear silver